welcome back to The Truth Hurts, where we expose corrupt politicians and lying corporate media. Let me say that again. The lying corporate media. We're going to get into January 6th on this program, but we have got to talk about this nutty transgenderism that's just creeping the nation, but it's right here in Minnesota. We actually broadcast from Roseville, Minnesota, which is the front lines of the battle against this crazy left-wing ideology, and it's on full display here in Minnesota. We've got to tell you what's going on at the Capitol, and joining me today, as always, is MAGA Jesse. How you doing there, MAGA Jesse?
Doing good. Good to be here. Finally, we get the truth on this January 6th. You know, we're going to get into all of that, some of this new released footage. It's finally we get the other side of the story. Finally, we get the truth uncovered and plan to expose here in Minnesota. These rhinos and these radical Democrats are nonstop.
Reading your comments is Mr. Straight-Laced himself, William Beck. How you doing, William?
Doing good. I've been told I read too many comments, so if you comment, it's got to be good.
No,
which they all
what
are.
I said to you is if Aaron Rasmus has 10 comments, just read like 2 or 3 of them. You can't just let Razzle Dazzle take over the show.
I'm just
Can't be leaving this up to rank amateurs
I'm
around
going to
here.
be reading the vast majority of your comments. Probably not all of them.
Well, let us know where you're watching from, especially if you're watching a Rumble. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, thanks for watching. You might want to get used to and acquainted to Rumble because it's just a matter of time before YouTube gives us another strike and takes us off their platform. Running the dials, as always, is Dawson, and joining him actually in the control room is Mark Bashofsky. Mark Bashofsky, it's so good to see you, man. We're going to bring you on set at some point. Actually, just come on set whenever you're ready. He's kind of watching Dawson run the dials because he's got an announcement he's going to make. So let's get right into it. First article is about transgender surgery. This was interesting. This came out like Thursday late at night where they were having a Health and Human Services committee hearing in the Senate, and they introduced an amendment which then included taxpayer-funded what they call gender affirmation surgery. That is the most ridiculous statement ever. Gender affirmation. You're not born with that gender. You are actually mutilating your genitalia to basically comply with the gender that society is telling you, or I shouldn't say society. What am I saying? That like a cult group is telling you need to be. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get into that.
Right, it's not gender affirming, it's gender reforming.
Reforming,
it's changing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in their head, they are a different gender, so that's the madness of the left-wing ideology.
Yep,
here.
you can be a woman before you're even a woman.
We're going to do a couple clips from Alpha News' interview, Liz Collins reporting with a person who transitioned and then went back. And it's a kind of heartbreaking story. So we're going to get into that too if you haven't seen that story. So anyhow, if you go back to the article, Dawson, excuse me, scroll down a little bit. This was added. We only had a screenshot when we published this thing because it was actually breaking. This was in the amendment that was offered. And it was basically like under breath, like, basically there's a big amendment and they quickly brought this up, but this is what it says: gender affirming. So they're actually getting rid of the term sex reassignment surgery.
That's funny.
And then they underline, so that when you do a strike through in bills or amendments, that means you're getting rid of current state statute, and then the underlying is what's being added. So gender affirming services, and then it's originally said that surgery was not covered under the medical assistance program. Now it says medical assistance covers gender affirming services. So in other words, you taxpayers, you work hard, you pay your taxes, they take that money and they go give it to somebody that wants to mutilate the genitalia. Now, once again, I'm a libertarian. I believe in a free and open society. So if you want to take your own money and do something this crazy and your age of the majority, so not a minority, but your age of the majority, you can do whatever nutty thing you want to do, in my opinion. But don't make me pay for it. That's the problem. Don't make someone that's unattached to this and really morally against this pay for it. And certainly don't do it to minors. And that's the big problem that we're seeing here is that Minnesota's becoming a what do you call it? A sanctuary state for gender mutilation. Sorry, I got something in my throat here. I almost lost it there. Hopefully I'm not getting something. They want to be a sanctuary state. So do we have that hyperlinked in this story, Dawson? I can't remember. Maybe it's the powerlifting story. Scroll back up. Yeah, Bill, right there. Yeah, click on that. So this was a story back in, let's see, February 9th. So it was a month ago. And this is where they want to actually allow intervene when two parents can't agree on if their daughter or son is going to become the opposite sex and get surgery at like a very young age. I think they're talking like 9-year-olds or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so the courts would intervene and say that a parent from another state can't extradite, it's the wrong term to use, but save their children from this heinous act. Mm-hmm. And that's what they want to do here in Minnesota. And Mark, weren't we talking about the guy that beat you in the race, Jonah Hill?
Josiah,
was he on this bill?
Yeah.
Jonah Hill.
Yeah. Did I say Jonah Hill?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Good
Josiah.
enough.
Josiah. Jonah Hill's the actor, right?
The fat guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Is he fat anymore?
Well, he goes back and forth.
He does. Okay.
Yeah.
He's funny or fat, though.
Mm-hmm.
God, he was so good in that movie Superbad.
Superbad, yeah. Need to have a movie night here and watch that.
We do need to watch that. All right. So that's what these nutcases want to do. And, I mean, Jesse, is that not just completely wrong to say that a taxpayer's got to pay for this stuff, and then we're going to basically make this a sanctuary state in case a kid wants to it's not even if a kid wants to do it, it's if a parent wants to force their kids to
I'm
do
on the same page as you. I think that if you're an adult, you're able to do whatever you want. I still disagree with it. I think it's crazy. I think it's insane. I don't think it makes scientific sense for anybody. But, for them to say that they want, children to be doing it, for them to say that our tax dollars have to be paying for it, it's completely ridiculous. Even people that support this transgender agenda do not support tax dollars going to this. It doesn't make any sense, and it just shows that they're willing to push, their culture war to no end. They're extremists.
I actually disagree with you guys somewhat on this.
Okay, go ahead. Make your case there, straight-laced William. We might have to change your name here.
I am totally against transgender surgeries for minors, and I'm generally against them for adults as well, or at least in their current state, because right now there's a real lack of oversight on these surgeries, and you're seeing people making these life-altering decisions with little to no time to consider the real ramifications.
Right, and there's all kinds of resulting problems, because of it too, with the sports, with the bathrooms, with the locker rooms where people are supposed to change.
Well, not even
there's all
that,
kinds of problems.
but just health risks, like heart attack, you have bowel issues,
Hormone
imbalances. You're literally chopping off pieces of your skin for phallic implants.
But is it the role of government to decide that, William? That's the problem. It's like
the role
last
of
time we
government,
saw government saying we're out there to protect you, right?
The role of government is to
us to take
protect
a
the
vaccine.
people. And when doctors are taking advantage of these predatory surgeries, I think the government does have some responsibility. I am generally against more regulations, but as long as you're regulating these other surgeries, these transgender surgeries, which serve no real medical benefit.
Right. Well, the best way of doing that would just be by allowing these people who get the surgeries to be able to sue whoever gave it to them for medical malpractice.
Yes, and I think that's a necessary step we have to adopt here.
No, I think so too. I think that it's better off if you're able to sue if they screw something up. So yeah, I'm with you.
Jake and I are having trouble.
I was trying to move that light there. I can't even see Dawson. That light is not going back up. We just put some new lights in here, so I got to go like this just to see William in the studio. So you're basically saying that you're just not for the incentives that the government is putting in place, right?
What incentives are the government putting in place?
Like you're getting paid, doctors get paid more for doing these surgeries, right? That's what you're
because
saying?
they cost so much to perform.
Right.
The government isn't, at least I don't think they're incentivizing them currently.
Well, sometimes people say, wasn't there an issue where people were joining the military to get this transgender surgery? So that's definitely an incentive the government's doing. So we shouldn't allow any of that.
We agree on that part.
Yeah.
My thought is you just got to let adults make decisions of their own. I guess there's laws in case somebody is incapable of making those decisions. That's the whole point of a power of attorney, but we have got to let adults make decisions, even if they're bad decisions, right? It's just you have to protect the minors. Not that I'm for it personally, right? But I'm just saying that you got to – basically, I don't want big government. That's the problem.
I mean, we talk about regulations and all that, and I'm sure we'd love to ensure that there's more oversight with the FDA, for example. The FDA just greenlit the COVID vaccine like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And that would be a libertarian idea. We need less regulation. We need less oversight. But that's how we got Operation Warp Speed. That's how we got the COVID-19 vaccine.
Right.
So I would argue that's an instance where there should have been more oversight.
Where's our handyman? Is he not here? I don't think that he's here today. This is he was here earlier. But it's really bugging me. I can't see William. Tim.
I'm talking right into the light.
Well, the problem
here.
is Tim just walks right under it, so he can't tell you. Oh, man. Well, he made his debut on our set last week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we all agree for sure this shouldn't happen in front of minors or to minors. And let's show you this video. I know you don't want to see this, Jesse. When we're doing a show prep, listen, none of us like seeing it, but Jesse
it's like garbage in, garbage out. It hurts to watch.
Yeah, Jesse got really offended by this. Now, we assume this is new because it's come up on Twitter, but at this point it's like hard to even track this. But go ahead and play the link. There you go. This is we assume this is a transgender male. It actually really doesn't matter if it's a guy or girl, but this is the drag show thing. I don't think I've seen a video like this before. Okay, just pause it right there. I mean, this is
that kid's confused.
This is freaking insane. So first of all, whether that's a transgender person or not, which I think it is, you don't do this. Like, what is she like? 6, 7 years old, this young girl. She looks just shocked at what's happening, and you got these parents just cheering it on.
Look at this woman's face right here. She looks so excited by what's happening. That's just awful.
It is awful.
Wow.
And then all these dudes, and I'm not going to call them men, they're not men, because I asked Jesse earlier, and Jesse, I guess if this ever happens in the future, I don't want you to incriminate yourself, but your response when I said, well, Jesse, what would you do if you were at this? And you responded with what?
I said I'd elbow it right to the face, I didn't mean to do that, Dawson.
Don't do that to Dawson.
I'm sorry, Dawson.
Mike.
It's not your fault, Dawson.
Poor Mike.
I'm angry at the transgenders.
I
said I'm sorry, Dawson.
Well, honestly, what I've heard about this, let's go ahead and keep playing this video here. What I've heard about this is actually sexually gratifying to the transgender person or the drag queen that's doing it. I mean, that's a dude, right? It's got to be
something.
I really don't want to get too much into the speculation here.
It's
I thought
look at these guys. They're just not doing anything about it. Laughing? What world do these guys come from?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I would have given him an elbow like you, Jesse, just because I don't think it does my children any good for me to end up in jail that night. But I'm certainly pushing this guy out of the room.
Right, I'd be willing to spend a couple of nights in jail for that. that would be pretty worth it to me. But I'm younger.
But this and this is what we're saying is this is a sickness. This is the left wing. Okay, I'm done seeing that person's ass. This is just.
We actually have a comment on this video, and JLJAS. Jiljas. Let me know if I'm saying that right. We're going to be touching on that subject a little bit later, so I'll bring up your comment later in the talk today. But Tucker says, perverted. I agree with Matt Walsh. These people need to be shamed, berated, beaten for this sick crap.
Right.
Carla Nelson says pure evil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just don't know how else to look at this. Like, how do you think this is okay? And if it's sexually gratifying to the drag queen, what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
That's disgusting. That's pedophilia.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that not still wrong? Have we not advanced as a society to say that's completely wrong and people should be actually taken from society and put in jail because of that?
I think, we determined that a long time ago, and people are deciding to regress. They're deciding to go back on that because they want to push this transgender gay agenda.
Yeah.
So this is the agenda, and this was really interesting. Liz Collins did a report about this. I think it published yesterday, and we did some clips of it. So she interviewed, I always get this stuff wrong, okay? So she interviewed a girl who at a young age, as a teenager, transitioned to a boy, took hormone therapy and all that kind of stuff because she got basically placed in that cult, this left-wing cult that said, oh, you're really a boy, you need to transition. Of course, there's terrible physicians that will hack up a young child. I assume mastectomy, right? And hormone treatment, certainly testosterone, which changed the voice. And so now, as a young adult, she regrets this decision and is now basically transitioned to her natural gender,
Mm-hmm.
and she's being shunned by the community. So let's go ahead and play the first clip here, Dustin, about this young woman from Michigan.
So the term is love bombing, and it's actually it's a tactic used by cults. We literally have an affirmation-only model, and I made one appointment. It was about 15 minutes, and I got asked very leading questions like, are you a boy? Do you hate your period? Do you have a hard time getting along with other girls? And, the answer to all of that was yes. And she was like, yeah, you're a boy.
I had never heard of that before. Love bombing is controlling and manipulative tactic most often used by narcissists and abusive people. They seek to quickly obtain affection and attention before tearing the victims down. They may appear charming and exciting in the beginning, but this usually fades away and is replaced with emotional abuse, which we'll actually get to it. So it's called love bombing. It's used by cults and basically narcissists. Is that not what's happening here? Essentially, if a young child who, quite frankly, doesn't know anything, know any better, feels like they're in the wrong body, there's a cult saying, we need to explore this, we need to promote this, this is a wonderful thing. You really aren't a young girl, you are a boy.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's
that's
a great
it. And
term.
the Democrats have basically taken this on as a plank of their party.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to describe it. I think that's exactly what they're doing. They're gaslighting these people and telling them everything's going to be just fine once they do it, and then they don't realize the kind of world of trouble they're in for.
All right, let's watch. So she then ends up deciding, and she admits, and go watch it, I think it's like 11-minute segment, that she had a lot of mental issues. So it's unfortunate that people took advantage of her in those mental issues to transition into a boy. So she left the community, realized this was not a good idea. And then, of course, like any cult, you can't really leave it. It's not a clean break, right? That's how you know it's a cult, is you can't have a clean break. So let's listen to what she says when she's trying to get out of it.
Wow. And how did the trans community treat you when you made that decision, Prisha? This is, again, the same community that, you talked about these love bombs, and they provided so much love and acceptance before.
Yeah, they hate me. Most of them, or about half of them, try to pretend I don't exist and just push my voice down, and the other half just adamantly fights against me. Like, I just testified on a bill, and I got a lot of comments on it saying, like, thanks for killing 1.6 million kids. Showers and gas chambers are coming next because of you.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Man.
That's what they do. That's called behavior. And this is the mainstream Democrat Party, from the best I can tell at this point, is that they've fully adopted this agenda to a point where they're actually willing to make Minnesota a sanctuary state.
Yep. We got a couple comments on Facebook to catch up on.
Sure.
These were from the last video, but it most certainly applies to this video as well. Lisa says groomers, and that's quite frankly what these people are, the people that are pushing this stuff on minors. They're groomers. They're trying to groom these people, whether it's with drag queen story hour, these dances, or when it comes to getting these surgeries. Kathy says normalizing the absurd, pathetic. Thanks for watching, Kathy, by the way. Kathy's a new city councilwoman in Mound, so
Very cool.
big fan of A4L as well.
Wow, the knowledge you have in just general politics there. You do the new
No, I
council member in
personally
Mount,
know
huh?
her. That's why.
What's that?
I personally know her. That's why.
Well, clearly, I know. You're just all over the place there.
And then back to Rumble. So the name I butchered earlier, JLJAS. She says, "My name is Jen. I was with the group that Jake gave a tour to a little while back."
Oh, hi, Jim. Good to see you.
And the subject that she brought up was the reparations bill.
Yeah,
which
we didn't
have
even
on the
have that on
docket,
show prep. Let's throw a quick curveball in here because I didn't want to finish up where we're going. Well, no, let's not do that. Jen, I'm going to get to the reparations. Great point. Let me finish this part about this transgender cult.
Yes.
Because it's not good enough for them to, promote drag shows, which happens in Minnesota, by the way. Maybe we need a MAGA Jesse reports on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you do a damn good job when you're reporting. We're going to get into your video at a
Oh yeah,
town hall
if you think I was mean to Eric Putnam, just get ready for a drag queen story time.
Maybe we shouldn't, because it could be. We shouldn't really discuss these things on air because they're incriminating. Although you're like the Boondock Saints, you know, you're like people appreciate it. Vigilante.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep, people need an outlaw.
I mean, it's just sickening what they're doing. Let's go to the last article. So it's not just enough for them to just stop at that. They got to go affect women's sports. Everyone knows the Leah Thomas story in Minnesota just last week, or was it over the weekend? It's got to be Friday. I think it's Friday. A judge
J.C. Cooper,
ordered.
not Leah Thomas.
Say that again?
J.C. Cooper, not Leah Thomas.
No, I know, but everyone knows about the Leah Thomas story, right? The
Oh,
infamous
okay.
swimmer,
I
the guy
misinterpreted
swimmer.
what you were saying.
Yeah, so this is a Minnesota story where a transgender, so basically a dude, decides he's going to do some powerlifting as a female. Now, we like to talk about lifting a lot around headquarters, especially me and William, although William doesn't belong to a gym. He belongs to Planet Fitness, but that's another story for a different day. So they got that hunk alarm over there, don't they?
The lunk alarm.
Lunk alarm?
They don't use it
don't
anymore.
use
I
it
think they
anymore?
got too much flack for it.
Probably no one's lifting any heavy weights. So anyhow, JC can't make it as a male power lifter because, you know, men are, stronger than women. Ooh. I
Yep.
went
That's
there.
a hot take, Jake.
How dare
Some
you
say
know what?
unscientific, apparently.
Unscientific, yeah, according to one congresswoman from Minnesota.
You know,
Anyhow,
but the thing is, there's push-ups and there's girl push-ups. I mean,
That's
that
true.
alone proves the fact that men are stronger than women.
Well, it's just, you know, in upper body strength. And yeah, in the Army, I remember our minimum push-ups, I think as an 18-year-old, maybe I'm dating myself because I don't know what the PT's test's like today, but, you know, I joined the Army 21, 22 years ago or something like that. It was like 42, I think, for an 18-year-old male, and women was like 19. So, like, men have much greater upper body strength. Now, they have strength overall that's different than women, but that's, like, the biggest difference. Everyone knows that, by the way.
Yep.
I mean, my God, if you see my shoulders compared to my wife's shoulders, it's disgusting. It's how much difference there is there. So, and, you know, JC is competing now as a woman, and they didn't want this. And so a judge, you wrote the story, William, judge basically overruled it and ruled in favor of JC. Is that correct?
Yeah. The judge said that it would be discriminatory and a violation of the Minnesota Human Rights Act to prohibit JC from competing in the women's league.
And we've seen so many bills referencing the Minnesota Human Rights Act. I think if there's anything that this Democrat majority is going to do, which is thanks to Tony Jurgens, former Republican representative, who delivered a full Minnesota government to the Democrats, it's that they've expanded the role of the Minnesota Human Rights Department. And as you guys can imagine, it's not really for human rights. It's for their woke agenda. Go back to that article real quick. And so I like how you put a picture there of on the left side a man benching, 3 plates, 315, and a woman that's, probably doing a bar that's 80 pounds or something like that, which is typically the difference between men and women when it comes to bench press. Scroll down a little bit there, Dawson. Keep going. So Minnesota Congresswoman, right there, that quote, just up a little bit. Ilhan Omar wrote about this last year. I remember the story. So when they ruled about it, I had already heard about that. She says, and she's writing to Keith Ellison. She wanted Keith Ellison to intervene in this case. And she writes, quote, "I urge you to reconsider the discrimination on scientific policy and follow the example of the International Olympic Committee. The myth that trans women have a direct competitive advantage is not supported by medical science, and it continues to stoke fear and violence against one of the most at-risk communities in the world." What on earth are you talking about? It's a scientific understanding that we have that men produce testosterone at much higher levels than women. And so these science deniers want to deny that thing. And it's like, well, and you write about this, William, the whole point in most competitive sports saying that you can't have anabolic steroids is because it'd be a testosterone level advantage, a difference in advantage, right? And here you have a person that went to maturity as a male, so has had a testosterone advantage, and then transitions as a woman. I mean, no one's going to be shocked when she's lifting more weights than all these other girls. It's ruining that sport. It's unbelievable. And it's the same thing as Leah Thomas right here in Minnesota. That's the nutty kind of Democrat agenda we're getting. Let me go to, on the fly here, because Jen, I think, brought this up. Let's bring up that reparation story. It wasn't on our story, but William, I think you wrote this story, right?
I actually think that was
Jesse's?
you, because I would have mentioned the formal apology to the family of George Floyd. I did not know that was in there
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
until today. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, actionforliberty.com. Yeah, just go to actionforliberty.com. It's the bottom left. There you go. 5 Democrats author reparations bill make you pay for past slave owners. So essentially this is, what's this numbnuts' name? Scroll down a little bit. I can't remember these guys' names. Is it not in there? How do I not have it? Oh, actually, you know what? That sign has his name. Samakabab? Samakabab? Samakab. Something like that. Click it. See where it says introduce to bill? Click on that. So this bill, and it's got 5 nut balls. Click on authors and status. Oh, God. Does that say Hussein? I can barely read on my screen.
Hassan.
Hassan? Yeah, I can't-
Is there a Hussein in the house?
I don't know. Well,
did not know
the
that.
first one is Hussein. Why am I looking at that TV? Actionforliberty.com.
Oh, you know what? Why it's confusing? It's Hussein is the first author, and then Hassan is the second
Yep.
author.
Yeah. So his name is Samakab Hussein. All right. Yeah, you can only imagine how he votes, right? Because he's from like deep down Minneapolis. Hassan, Richardson, Noor, Hollins, Frazier in the House. Doesn't have a Senate companion bill. Basically what they're doing is they're taking $200 million of your money and they're going to provide reparations. But the glorious part to this whole story is they don't just dish it out from the government. They use nonprofits. And wasn't it like a tribal thing in here? You know, it's kind of hard to keep track of all these bills these days, isn't it? Let's see here. So they call it the Minnesota Migration Act. And they established this advisory council, which then makes these transfer payments to, and it's like a bunch of different things, but I want to say it was a nonprofit. Oh my God! See, it's just it's crazy.
That was the basic income grant.
That's the basic income
Yeah,
one.
Right. That's
It
a
is
separate
hard to
bill.
keep
Oh,
track
I
of
know.
this.
These Democrats, it's they're going after the same idea, but also it's just every single bill, and they've got thousands of bills. It's hard to even keep track of which one's which, and these Democrats are out of control.
Yes. So essentially, what this is doing is it's taking people who have descendants that were slaves. And then the advisory council, which is made up of many different members, but
And that's not easy to prove. I'm not sure exactly what their plan is. Obviously, I don't think this bill has any chance of passing, but imagine it does. How are they going to prove that they were an ancestor of slaves? It doesn't
Right.
make sense.
Well, they just have to take their word for it. Otherwise, you're racist.
Yeah, you're
guess
racist
so.
if you even challenge that. How
Right.
dare you, MAGA Jesse?
I guess so.
You guys really are the biggest threat to America. Okay. Anyhow, Jen, thanks for bringing that up. Interesting stuff. Just go to actionforliberty.com, read up more about it. I should know. I guess I wrote the article, but honest to God, it's that bill. It's the basic income that they do. It's the transgender bills. The Republicans getting fined $100,000. It's kind of hard to keep track of all these things that we're
Right.
writing about, right? All right. Well, let's get back on our agenda. We got to talk about Jesse's performance here in St. Cloud. A lot of people have gotten to see this video. What we were doing that day, we had a team up there door knocking or lid dropping many different homes in, what is that, Senate District 14? 13
Yes.
or 14, one of the two.
14.
In St. Cloud. And then there was a town hall put on by Eric Putnam. Now, why Eric Putnam? Why is that of interest? Well, the Democrats in Minneapolis, St. Paul, they believe in this like reparations crap. They are so far gone. You're never getting them to vote. As this wacko Bill Dingsfin said on our show last week in the comment section, Omar Fateh actually got 91% of the vote in Minneapolis. Like, there's no chance for a Republican, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, you got to focus on the areas where Democrats are, possibly going to lose, which are the swing districts. So Eric Putnam's in one of those top swing districts, very low margin of victory. So he does a town hall, and you guys were there. Dawson capturing footage, and you guys were there. So tell us about how that went there, Jesse.
Right. So we showed up. We were going around all over his district, bringing around those flyers, and we showed up early to this event, we made sure to start handing out the flyers again to all of the people who were at the library to see Eric Putnam. We were and what were the flyers talking about? We were discussing how he plans on voting for gun control. He even admitted it while he was speaking to us at the town hall. And it was a very interesting dynamic. There were people, it was, I'd say, about split 50-50 on the people that were either there to tell him that he needed to straighten out, and then, of course, there was about half of the people there just to be his puppets and do his dirty work and defend him.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got to play this video here. You can go to our Rumble page too to watch this. This is Jesse. He gets a chance to speak to the audience or to the senator, and gives them an earful of pretty much how a lot of us feel. Go ahead and hit play on that. I feel like there's going to be an ad. Is there going to be an ad? There's an ad. Brush your teeth, folks. You don't want those gums.
All right, my name's Jesse. I've been bringing around these flyers everywhere in your district, in your neighborhood, telling people that you want to support gun control. You've even admitted it here today, saying that you support red flag laws and you support expanding these background checks. I appreciate that you're going to vote against this safe storage. It'll be the first time that you vote against your own party. You voted with the Democrats every step of the way, every amendment of the way. On the abortion bill, abortions in all cases, you're all for it. Every single thing that the Democrats have been pushing, you have been in line with them. And this is a swing district. You can't vote for a radical agenda and then expect these people to continue to vote for you. It is a joke. So if you want this to continue to happen, vote for gun control, because that's what's going to happen. I will hit every single door and let them know what you are doing. This is our constitutional right. You don't get any influence on it. Do you understand? I have a pledge here that says that you will not support any gun control. Are you willing to sign that today?
Of course not. I just
of course not.
over
You
there.
don't respect the Constitution.
Next
question.
Oh yeah, right. You don't care about gun rights.
We're gonna be nice to each other. He can yell at me, but he can't yell at you.
Look at that lady. That's Mom's Demands action.
Yep, that was the funny part. We when we're sitting inside there, I end up sitting right next to the Mom's Demand action. I thought it was hilarious, and
Yeah.
that obviously didn't stop me from saying what I wanted to say. I think what Senator Eric Putnam realized is MAGA Jesse is his worst nightmare. I'm going to be everywhere in his district attacking him, letting him know that you can't vote against the Constitution. You can't go against the interest of your people. Pretend like you're an independent thinker. That's what he was doing at the town hall, pretending that he's an independent thinker and he's making the best decisions. And I felt like I had to point out, you are voting in line every single time with these Democrats. And, and maybe one mistake I made, I'll even admit to it. I probably shouldn't have yelled at the guy behind me. I was really angry at Senator Eric Putnam. But that aside, I think that the only way to get across to these politicians isn't by trying to suck up to them. It isn't by trying to be nice. You will never win over a politician that way. You need to make them fearful that they are going to lose re-election unless they change.
So Carla Nelson has one critique of our effort at the town hall there. She says that you didn't use the diamond tactic, which I'm impressed that she brought this up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, I think that was a good display of what needs to happen, because these politicians will never change their behavior unless they face this kind of retribution, right? And this isn't violent. You're just shouting. You're the boss, right?
Right.
These guys work for us.
Right, exactly.
And you let them know, and they're stepping on line. They're not following the guideline that they're supposed to follow as a legislator, which is the Constitution. They swear an oath to the Constitution, then they just ignore that whole thing.
They work for us. We don't work for them.
Exactly.
So, people can say I should have been nicer. I should have handled it differently. No. Eric Putnam works for we the people, and we don't work for him. We don't get to surrender our guns to him ever.
Ever. Yeah, exactly. And let's not forget, they're coming after our rights. They're the aggressors. Here we are just trying to defend our God-given rights. So that was your only mistake there, as you said, constitutional right. It's actually predates the Constitution.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's just recognizing the Constitution. Obviously, it's a natural right that belongs to people well beyond the Constitution.
Yeah, joining us is Mark. He wants to.
What's going on, Mark?
He wants to partake in our next subject here. Is your mic on? Can we hear him? I can't tell.
Test.
We're
Check.
good? We're
5,
good?
6,
Okay,
8,
good.
12.
And Dawson's like, yeah, duh, Jake. I do my job very well. All right, so we got to get into this. So, Mark, first of all, you're going to do a new show, the Truth Expedition. Is that correct?
That's correct. The Truth Expedition. We're going to climb, we're going to grind, we're going to trek, and we're going to dig through the lies and find a little truth.
And we're looking at like an April launch, somewhere in there?
Yeah, April 6th. I'm actually happy to announce my first 3 guests.
Go
here
ahead.
quick.
Yeah.
Dr. Andrew Kaufman. So Dr. Andrew Kaufman's an MIT grad, molecular biology, worked in biotech, cancer research, forensic psychology. He's kind of the prominent voice in the world on this terrain theory, and he claims that viruses don't exist. Now that's, I actually just got a message recently, yeah, that's like flat earth stuff. Well, I don't know.
Wait. I am not familiar with this.
Yeah, so terrain theory.
Yeah, Dawson's got a fair warning. We're going to violate the community standards.
Well, I'll
on
try
YouTube.
to...
Wait, so he's an MIT graduate, you're saying, with these credentials, and he doesn't believe viruses exist?
Well, see, he was at the beginning in early 2020. He saw what we saw.
These lights are terrible. We got to look through the lights here. Jeez.
So,
I know.
So he saw what was happening. He didn't. All this. What was happening? I don't want to get us booted, but everything that was happening in 2020, he was like, something's not right here, and he discovered this situation with viruses, and it's like they skipped several steps of science. Like, in fact, I just got a message, they can see them under electron microscopes. Well, no, they cannot. They've never isolated one of these things from nature. So do I believe this is true or not? I don't know. But, we've been lied to about everything. We were lied into wars. The Federal Reserve is a huge scam. I mean, there's lie after lie. We've got Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra, all this stuff. Can you trust? Maybe this is just, and again, do I believe it? And I have some very hard questions for Dr. Kaufman because, there are a lot of questions. What about chickenpox? Mm-hmm. But he's got good answers. And my next guest is, you're going to love this guy.
What do you got, Dustin? Hold on.
Just really quick, we got to give a thank you to Jan for a donation of $50 via Rumble Super Chat.
Jan or Jen?
Jen.
Jen. Well, thank you, Jen. I appreciate that very much.
And so, my second guest. So first guest will be, it'll air.
Wait a second. So people can donate on Rumble? Did we know that?
Yeah, well, I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Yeah, super chats. I see those in other streams all the time.
Is
So
that
yeah,
a
thank you very much, Jen.
super chat?
That's what Dawson said.
Yeah, that's what they're. Well, that's what they are on YouTube.
You should be pumping for more donations.
I guess so. Look at us. We've been missing the mark here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Missing the mark. That's what we should have called your podcast.
yeah,
We're
we're
hitting
too
the
late
mark.
now, man.
Yeah.
You came in late
No, the
with
mark's
that
on the
suggestion.
mark. He's not missing the
He's
mark.
not missing the
hitting the
mark.
mark.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Hitting the mark. There you go.
Okay.
Anyway, next guest will be, so first guest is April 10th and April 17th, which is my birthday. I'm going to interview Joel Salatin. He describes himself as the Christian, libertarian, environmentalist, capitalist, lunatic farmer. He's the high priest of the pasture. He's been featured on 15 documentaries, including the famous Food Inc. documentary. He's the author of 15 books. You're going to love this guy. He's got the answers to what ails us. I believe his methods of farming will solve our problems with the environment, with healthcare, and with the economy. I cannot wait to talk to Joel. He's been an idol of mine for many years.
You've seen his technique, right? Where he moves like a fence line on
Yeah,
a daily basis. It's
And
very interesting.
everyone's like, you can't feed the world with this, and it's garbage. You can, and it literally talks about how the soils of the earth are actually carbon sequestration, and all the soils are dead, and the soils are our stomach. And if you regenerated these soils, you would no longer, whether you believe in carbon and global warming or not, you could, soak up all the carbon. So he's got so many good answers. And then
Dawson didn't want me to mention the lights anymore, but the reason Mark is going like so far over here is because we put these new lights in, and now we can't even see each other.
I guess I don't need to look at you,
I
Jake.
guess. I know,
And then
such a
Brooke
great-looking
Jackson
face
on
there.
April 24th. If you don't know who Brooke Jackson is, she is the ex-Pfizer employee who blew the whistle on the trials for this thing. And
Was that sanitized so we don't get taken
yeah,
off
I'm
of-
trying my best.
Oh
here.
my God.
On my
Mark,
show,
we can never have you
I'm
on
just
our
gonna get
show.
booted. I'm gonna have a set a record on getting booted from YouTube.
yeah.
But so Brooke is currently in a lawsuit right now with Pfizer. And what Pfizer said, you wouldn't believe this. They said, we want this case dismissed because we were only providing the fraud that the government wanted.
Wow.
So it's going to be amazing. And I'm trying to get as many followers as possible because I have like Dr. Peter McCullough, Del Bigtree. I want to interview Donald Trump and and everyone.
Oh yeah.
You know, from the common man
Jeez.
perspective.
You see that smile on Jesse's face? Holy cow, that just went up. Donald Trump is always welcome in our studio. We'd love to bring him on. Of course, that'll get us off YouTube in a wicked quick.
I mean, heck, Joe Biden's welcome too, as
yes,
long as
we
we're
will
allowed
gladly
to grill
extend an invite to Joe Biden too, or heckling Kamala Harris.
Right.
Actually, pretty much any Democrat, we'd love to bring them on this studio. None of them have the guts. We try calling them. All right, Mark, this is going to be an entertaining show. Oh my God! So speaking, and it sounds very conspiracy oriented, which is going to put you in the hot box on YouTube. So I think you build that channel on Rumble for sure.
Yeah, it's on Rumble. Truth Expedition. If you go there, please follow, because I do have a couple guests. James Corbett, who is probably the best.
Oh, you got him already?
No, but he said he would. He wants to see if it's the real deal. So I have to email him in April. Corbett is the best investigative journalist in the world. He's based. He's not a conspiracy theorist. He asks hard questions, and he backs up his information with references and sources. He's amazing. And my goal in this is to get the word out to all the viewers. And also, I plan on lit dropping hundreds of neighborhoods with this show, because we got to get outside this echo chamber.
Yes.
And what we're doing here in this show, what Jake's doing, is informing people about what's happening at the Capitol. It is super important, but we need to somehow get outside this echo chamber. So I'm going to drop flyers in thousands of mailboxes and get a few people to see this. They need to see this information, because a lot of liberals, if they knew what was happening, they would no longer be liberal.
Right. Yeah, social media is always trying to censor, so you're right, boots on the ground is the only way to do it.
What did you need, Dawson? Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, I'm going on Sons of Liberty Radio at 2:15. We got like 20-some minutes before 2 o'clock. We're good. Look at Dawson trying to... I guess Dawson's not going to be watching your show there, Mark.
Sorry for managing a studio.
Dishing it out. Hey, did you do your push-ups today?
No, I'm exempt from that.
How are you exempt from that?
I'm exempt from that because when you were stating the rules, you said, Dawson, you're exempt from this because your schedule is weirder than theirs.
Yeah, but then I thought you complied with it. Did you do your push-ups?
No.
I haven't done my push-ups yet.
I owe some too, right?
Yeah,
All right. Well, Mark's going to join us on this segment. We got to talk about January 6th. Okay, so it was brought to our attention last night, I think it was, that Tucker actually made public some videos. First of all, I think Speaker McCarthy gave him the videos like a week or two ago, and this is like tens of thousands of hours.
41,000, yeah.
Yeah, so, pretty good job for the producers of the Tucker Carlson show to go through this stuff, because that could not have been easy, and then probably validate their sources and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So last night is when he revealed some really shocking stuff. So the first thing we're going to show you is the Q Shaman, as he was infamously called. Q Shaman is this crazy white supremacist terrorist who was wearing a buffalo hat and ran out to the House floor and got to the Speaker's podium. And this is the guy that was taking over our whole country. This is the horrible guy. Lock him up and throw away the key. Or actually, one guy said we should shoot him. Well, Tucker actually's got video of this guy in the Capitol, and this is pretty interesting. Watch this.
Due to receive this punishment. To this day, there is dispute over how Chansley got into the Capitol building. But according to our review of the internal surveillance video, it is very clear what happened once he got inside. Virtually every moment of his time inside the Capitol was caught on tape. The tapes show that Capitol Police never stopped Jacob Chansley. They helped him. They acted as his tour guides. Here's video of Chansley in the Senate chamber. Capitol Police officers take him to multiple entrances and even try to open locked doors for him. We counted at least 9 officers who were within touching distance of unarmed Jacob Chansley. Not one of them even tried to slow him down. Chansley understood that Capitol Police were his allies. Video shows him giving thanks for them in a prayer on the floor of the Senate. Watch.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for giving the inspiration needed to these police officers to allow us into the building.
Contrast the reality of what Jacob Chansley did in the Capitol building on January 6th, the indisputable facts recorded on video, some of which has never before been seen, with the depiction of Jacob Chansley that you've seen in the media for more than 2 years. He's a terrorist, they said. He should be killed.
Shoot him.
shoot him. Like, if you burst into the United States, if he was dressed like Bin Laden, would you have shot him?
Shoot him! Shoot him! It makes you wonder, who are the violent extremists here? Not Jacob Chansley, and the video proves that. But you would never have known from the media coverage.
All right, cut it there. It's unbelievable, Mark. Why did the government stage this?
I believe, there were videos prior to this one where they showed the officers, the Capitol Police, moving the gates and waving these people in.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that early on. I mean, none of this makes any sense. It was staged.
Yep, the videos of them waving, the magnetic doors open, the videos now where they are opening the entrance to the Congress and Senate, floor to this Jacob, to the QAnon shaman. It just goes to show, these police are escorting him all around the Capitol building, trying to find an open area for him to get in. And then at the same time, where's Ray Epps? Ray Epps isn't in prison. Ray Epps doesn't get charged. Ray Epps is somehow connected to the government, and he's, what do you call him, a provocateur. He's trying to get things started. He was trying to get people to go into the Capitol. Real Trump people knew, stay back, don't do it, don't go in the Capitol. That's what they wanted from us. That way they can pin us as extremists. They went with the narrative they wanted, and now we're finally getting the truth. Thanks to
play the Ray Epps video here, Dawson. Benny Johnson? Yeah, Benny Johnson's Twitter. I'm glad you brought that up. We got to watch this here.
If there's one takeaway from the corpus of footage that we spent 3 weeks looking at, it's that the January 6th committee lied. Its members are liars.
Right?
And the results
Big
of those
time.
lies,
Yep.
core civil liberties in this country were eroded. People went to prison. They're in prison as of right now, unjustly. So those lies had consequences. So you have to ask yourself, whatever happened to the members of the January 6th committee? These liars who hurt people and the country. Well, let's see. Adam Schiff is running for Senate. Adam Kinzinger got a job at CNN. Liz Cheney somehow wound up a professor at the University of Virginia, the august University of Virginia. They're all still there. Benny Thompson, ooh, listen to his wisdom, but they're liars. And above all, this video proves it. Here's another installment. One of the enduring mysteries of January 6th is the role that intelligence and law enforcement agencies played in the events of that day. We know there was some number of undercover federal agents in the crowd at the Capitol. Officials have since admitted that under oath. But what exactly were they doing there? The January 6th committee worked hard to hide the answer to that question. We do know from contemporaneous
There he
videos
is.
that a mysterious figure called Ray Epps encouraged the crowd to go into the Capitol. For some reason, Epps has never been indicted for that. But there's no question he did it.
We need to go into the Capitol!
Under public pressure, the January 6th committee finally interviewed Ray Epps. Epps told the committee that he never entered the Capitol and therefore never committed a crime. His text messages showed that at 2:12 p.m., he boasted to his nephew that he had, quote, orchestrated the protests at the Capitol. He admitted he helped get people there. Yet, curiously, congressional
Look at him whispering in that
Democrats
guy's
consider
ear,
Ray
and then
Epps
this
an
guy
ally,
pushes over the
not an
barricade.
insurrectionist.
Yep.
Tonight, we can tell you that at the very
So
least,
what's he whispering
Ray
in that
Epps
guy's ear?
lied in his sworn testimony to the January 6th committee. Epps testified that when he sent the text messages to his nephew, he had already left the Capitol grounds to return to his hotel room. That is not true. The surveillance footage we found shows that, in fact, Ray Epps remained at the Capitol for at least another half an hour. You're seeing that on your screen now. What was Epps doing there? We can't say, but we do know that he lied to investigators. The January 6th committee likely knew this too. Democrats had access to the same tape, yet they defended Ray Epps. No honest investigation would do that. But the point of the January 6th committee was never to investigate anything. The point was to stage a made-for-TV show trial.
Yep.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right,
The opening
let's
moments,
go
the
ahead
tone
and
of the-
pause there. I think we know that story. I think we all know that story very well. Let's impeach the damn president. Let's create this narrative, soil the president from ever running again, which actually is pretty fascinating that Trump's just pushing right through and now
Yep.
leading in the polls, which you guys are going to cover on your show, Political Junkies, which I think we'll release this evening or tomorrow maybe. And so it's amazing to me that they are actually behind this thing. And once again, as
Right.
I stated to you, Mark, they literally staged this whole January 6th. There's probably you could suggest, it's not known, but you could suggest that maybe no one even was stormed the Capitol, got in, had it not been for the feds prodding these people to go in.
I think that's also the case as well, and there were people who, did break windows, who did break into the Capitol. You're not allowed to do that. I'm all for, prosecuting all that. But, when there's people like this QAnon shaman who are being led around by the police are helping him get onto the floor. There's so many questions. You have to wonder how many of these people are provocateurs, how many of these people are involved with the government, how many of these people were being set up to do this, because I was always on the Alex Jones side. Do not enter the Capitol. That's what they want from us. And, they want to pin the Trump people in a certain way. And it's amazing that this January 6th committee thought that they could exist and do all of this by feeding us lies like we weren't ever going to get the truth. All it took was a Republican majority to get the facts straight. All it took was giving these files over to Tucker Carlson to be able to straighten this whole thing out so we can have the truth. It's amazing how the government will lie to us.
But will the truth be straightened out? Are they really what's the spin gonna be on CNN and MSNBC? This propaganda machine they've got, sure, it's on Fox and it's on Tucker, but
right.
Again, the left is still gonna have their narrative, I guarantee it.
Right, and Hakeem Jeffries, he says that, I don't believe this footage was vetted by the police. And and I thought that was hilarious. Isn't the same footage the footage that was being analyzed by the January 6th committee? And didn't this footage have to come from the Capitol Security Police? It doesn't make any sense. Of course it was vetted by the police.
Well, it just upsets me, the gaslighting of America. And, of course, we saw this through COVID, and that's how Mark and I met, was through the vaccine mandates. But what's really fascinating is it's one day, one event that changed politics. COVID was like months and months, right? This is one event. Had that event not occurred, they wouldn't have this big narrative to push for so long. I mean, they've been milking this thing. Well, they're milking it still today. So
right.
2 years. And it's like, it's a fraud. They literally, this Ray Epps guy, who knows who he works for, but he supposedly comes from Arizona to see his beloved president of the United States. He just wants to hear him speak and never shows up to hear Trump speak.
Yep.
He goes to the first breach point of the Capitol. And this guy who says he orchestrated it, this is the guy that said, we're going to go into the Capitol the day before. And by the way, audience, people were like, that's a fed, that's a fed.
Yeah.
This guy is clean. Meanwhile, we have a woman here in Minnesota whose house was raided at 5 a.m. by the FBI, and she was arrested. Now she's facing trial out in Washington, D.C.
Right.
We tried to bring her on the show a couple weeks ago. We're going to try to bring her back on. But you can see a video of her going, this is not us. Do not go in here. She gets pushed in there.
Yeah.
And the other thing, and you alluded to this, Jesse, there are some idiots. They cracked the windows, they went in. Those people need to be prosecuted for something. Certainly vandalism, right?
Yeah.
I always think trespassing.
And obviously, when they have been prosecuted, it's been unfair. They've been given too long of terms. I'm not saying that they should, have the entire system slapped against them, but you do have to face some punishment for damaging property.
100%. Yeah, no one's arguing that. But the vast majority of people you watch, they're going in there. They're not actually causing harm. And quite frankly, it is the people's house. This is the U.S. Capitol. So, and it's not lost to me that the Capitol is basically shut down for over a year because of COVID, right?
Yep.
Couldn't even go into the people's house. The politicians didn't want to be faced with their subjects.
So are you guys familiar with the 3 men from Minnesota that are facing charges over this? They're from Lindstrom. In fact, I worked with the woman who their mom. So you should have her on, and perhaps them at some point. It's amazing. They were just there, and the FBI stormed their house twice, vandalized their home, took all their weapons, threw with ARs, whatever weapons they, stormed their house.
Yeah, they want to disarm us. They don't want us to have weapons of war. Meanwhile, the FBI overly prosecuting people, storming houses with weapons of war. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Mark, there's so much stuff for you to talk about on your damn show. It gets me riled up. Because this stuff, it's like, this is the deep state pushing back against our freedom. And I don't think this is just a national thing. This is a global thing. This is the elitists that literally are the same people that run Davos, run the World Economic Forum, that we're probably paying, I almost said Weinstein, Epstein, to basically get the dirt on all these politicians. There's something very sinister and evil. And January 6th is just a great showcase of exactly how far they will go.
Yep, and what Donald Trump put on Truth Social, he said, "Let them go free now," and that's in response to Tucker Carlson and everything that he's been exposing. Also, I'm sure you guys may have seen Thomas Massey was on Tucker Carlson last night, and even Thomas Massey, a congressman from Kentucky, said, "I'm in Congress, and I still have a different picture of what happened now because of what's being exposed here," and he was there. So It just goes to show that, we the people have been misinformed, misguided, and all we want is the footage. All we want is the evidence, and it's good to see what's coming out.
We got a couple theories about who may have been really behind January 6th on Rumble here. Jen thinks that maybe Nancy Pelosi might have been the ringleader, and then Tucker said that Cocaine
Nancy
Mitch
Pelosi
is probably...
didn't make sure the police were properly there, so that could very well be.
She's too stupid to be the ringleader.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't think she's a stupid person.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I would say about Nancy Pelosi. Stupid's not one of them.
She's savvy. I mean, she's obviously, to get to power, you got to have a certain amount of corruption ability to win people over, I guess. But
I'll give you that.
Yeah, she's a kooky lady.
Yeah, and then of course Mitch McConnell. That's what Tucker thinks could be part of it. But on that, Jen also said that the fact that Trump offered National Guard twice to Nancy Pelosi and she refused speaks volumes.
Right.
I mean, honestly, it's easy to blame the politicians in this case. I think it's some deep state. Like, I remember Ray Epps was asked if he would be his lawyers had to respond to if he's law enforcement. He said, "No, we are not. He is not law enforcement. Was never served a law enforcement force." Like, so is he CIA then? Is it what is it? Defense intelligence? What does he belong to if it's not law enforcement?
It's something.
Brad Ganser just donated $50 and said, "Can't wait for Mark's show on Rumble." Brad, thank you.
How do we even collect money on Rumble? Jeez, I didn't even know this thing existed. I want to thank you guys. That's two first donations. Jen, I guess, is the first one.
Make donations. So I was doing meetups for Action for Liberty. We kind of paused them for now, but my whole pitch was we need this organization. You can't trust the legislature. We need to pressure these people. We need to get the word out. We need field operatives. If you want to change the state, donate, because this organization's doing the hard work of what needs to be done.
So, to go down the conspiracy theory, we posted this on Twitter this morning, and it's got Kermit the Frog. Are you able to pull up our Twitter real quick, Dawson? Yeah, show the meme. By the way, my friend Joel, who doesn't like public comments, so he just texted me during the show, says, Jen's donation on Rumble are called Rumble Rants from chat in number 23. So it's Rumble Rants, I guess. Rants.
Cool.
Learning things today. Here's a little song I wrote called "If You're Not on a Government Watch List by Now, You Should Be Ashamed of Yourself." You got to imagine we're on that government watch list at this point, for telling the truth. And that's why the name of the show is The Truth Hurts, because quite frankly, what we're telling you are not easy things to hear. A lot of people just want the easy lies. COVID exposed this, right? People just want to hear the easy lies. And too many people said, "Okay, I'll roll up that sleeve. Go ahead and jab me." A lot of us here are like, "Whoa, I haven't trusted them since day one of COVID, but certainly not poking me with your experimental drug."
Yep.
I think people are starting to wake up to this, but I think they will test this again when it comes to some kind of pandemic or some kind of so-called emergency. Yeah, that's why we call it The Truth Hurts. It's not easy to telling people what's going on. And I brought this up to my wife this morning, showing her that Tucker footage. I go, what does it do to you to know that the federal government staged the January 6th so-called insurrection? I mean, it's not
lied
an insurrection,
to us
but
for the last 2 years about it. They've done nothing but misinform us and misguide us for the last 2 years.
It's like, how can you go on living your life the same way knowing that they went to that level? It also reminds me of the so-called plot against Gretchen Whitmer that ended up being like 12, 14 federal agents and like 2 just idiots that fell trapped to their
mentally challenged people.
Yeah, it's so true. Kathy on Facebook says, "A well-oiled radical machine con job. We have known the truth since the beginning." I think we've always known that there's something weird about this.
Oh, yeah. We definitely have. It's just like we didn't. It's one of those things. It's like, was the thing stolen? Can't even say it right. I'm doing a Mark trick.
Well, we're on YouTube. We're on YouTube.
Yeah, was the thing stolen? and it's like, well, you better have some proof. And so far, it's just speculation. The thing is, you can't dismiss it because a lot of people are like, geez, something seemed very wrong. Certainly, there was something wrong about them changing laws without actually acts of the legislature.
Yeah.
Something seems wrong. In this case, something always seemed wrong. Now we got some proof. Tucker's right. Ray Epps at least lied to Congress at the very least.
Yep.
What's going to happen there? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yep. And Rumble, Brad Ganser says, some have said COVID was a trial run for the next pandemic, the existential threat of the climate crisis. I think he's right. I think we could see climate lockdowns in the future.
Well, they're already warning of the, 2024 was just stated, but 2025, Gates just said it's coming in 2025 and it's going to be, lethal to the kids this time. What do they know?
Right.
It's scary.
All right, one last thing I want to bring up. We're just going overtime, but, we still got like 13-ish minutes there, Dawson, before we go to the next show. Pull up the article on the bonding bill. This just passed last night. And this is where Republicans actually have some leverage in Minnesota, and it's unbelievable how many voted for this. But essentially, it's almost every year nowadays, the politicians of the Capitol, they want to put more money on the credit card. Some of these projects are like road construction projects, bridges, and then they get the really suspect ones, like giving way more money to college universities that are actually wasting it and teaching woke ideology. Things like the Eagle Center in Wabasha, things that are wastes of taxpayer money. They put us all together in one big omnibus bill. They call it the Capital Investment Bill, and it needs 3/5 of the legislature to pass. So in other words, Republicans actually can stop something. In other words, if they can stop it, they better get something in return for voting for it.
Yep.
Hence, like, no gun control. Give back the surplus in Social Security tax. What happens last night? They get nothing from the Democrats, no concessions from the Democrats. And they vote 98, was it 91 to 43? Scroll down here real quick. 90, where is it?
Scroll back up a little bit.
91 to 43. There you go. These are the people that voted for it. You can go to actionforliberty.com and see it. But a lot of Republicans voting in the affirmative, including my state rep, which I'll have some words with, giving the Democrats everything they want. This is the one leverage point they have. But they love these pet projects, the pork that they can bring back to their district. They love putting more on the state credit card, that they're willing to sell you out, and voted for this monstrosity. So if you're talking to your Republican rep, you mention because this is going to probably come. They actually said it's dead in the Senate.
Right. Mark Johnson said it's dead on arrival. So it just goes to show that Mark Johnson, he's a rhino. So all those people that voted for the House version, they're even bigger rhinos. It's unbelievable.
Yes. You got to get something for this thing. And that's just a big sellout by Republicans here in Minnesota.
Yep.
And then, of course, the Democrats obviously want this thing. They never are accused of fiscal conservatism.
Yep.
I'd love to bring up Trump's CPAC speech, but we'll save that for Political Junkies. So you guys are going to record that this afternoon.
Yep.
And we'll probably release it tonight or tomorrow. So that's episode 4, I want to say. Is that correct?
I think it will be 4.
Political Junkies?
So keep your eye out on this channel here, whether it be on YouTube or Rumble, preferably Rumble, and we'll see you there.
Yeah, so just make sure you subscribe to this Rumble channel, The Truth Hurts. And then, Mark, we're going to also be posting it on our channel. And of course, you'll probably have a channel you're starting up too, but we'll be posting Mark's show on this channel as well. And that's going to start mid-April, called The Truth Expedition. You're going to do a teaser today. I think we're recording for you. So Mark's going to hang out with us all day, which is really awesome. So thank you guys for tuning in. And thank you guys, Jen and Brad, for donating on Rumble. I assume we can get that money somehow. I guess I was mystified. Dawson says yes. Mystified that was even a thing. Guess we've been missing out this whole time. So thank you guys for the donations. Thank you for everyone that watched today, and continue sharing this, and let's get the truth out there. Thank you very much.